about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Doc-Dali, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So I don't think I use slang. I grew up in the 80s. I'm Gen X. So I say cool a lot, awesome, dude, sup. Sup came later, I think. Frick, F-R-I-C-K, like what I'll say that. I don't say maximum zoom dweeb. That was a little bit before my time. I remember my sister saying, "Oh, he's such a maximum zoom dweeb." Tubular. That was early 80s. I'm more of a later 80s. And so, I try not to use a lot of slang, but there's a lot of terms that we use in our vernacular that just ended up being now normal terms. But there's a commercial that a lot of the boomer and Gen X and older millennials are watching with some, shall we say, confusion. There's this dad who I guess is talking to his kids while they're flipping pancakes. I don't know what the ad is for, but he's trying to use all these words like that's a flex, that's sus. And the kids are like, "Mom, make him stop." Like, shut up. So I figured I need to give you guys a quick lesson so you understand what some of these words are. By the way, slang, I just figured out, I just learned slang is short for, or is a, actually there's a term for this. Hold on a second. I want to give you guys the exact term for this. Hold on. I posted this and I can't pronounce it well. I'm not very good with pronunciation. So hold on a second. Here we go. There's me live. Hi. Sorry about my hair. There's me live. All right. So slang is a portmanteau. Do you guys know what a portmanteau is? It's where they combine words. So slang means short language. It's when you combine words together. So that's a portmanteau. Look at how I'm teaching you guys something. So slang means short language. So some of the language that Gen Alpha and some of the Gen Zs are using is, here we go, and I want to give credit to the storyexchange.org. One word they're using is ate. Now, you would think ate means it's a verb for eating, to eat. I think we have conjugated it appropriately in the past tense, where I ate a bowl of cereal, something like that. Apparently, it describes something exceptionally good or awe-inspiring. If they use it in a sentence, her outfit ate down. Really? 4 plus 4 is another way for them to say ate. I didn't think Gen Alpha says the word outfit. Outfit is kind of a 60s term. So anyway, though, ate means good. Riz. When I think of Riz, I don't know, I think of grease, Riz, like Rizzo, I don't know, but Riz apparently is a term to describe a person that has charisma. So Bobby got the Riz. He can have any girl he wants. Now, you see, I would have used the term he's got game. Now, game was 90s. He's got game, because that I dated in the 90s. So somebody's got game. So Riz is basically he's got game, he's got Riz. I guess there's a term called delulu. All right, you are delulu. What does delulu sound like? Delusional. So if your kid or grandkids goes delulu, that means you're delusional. All right. Skibidi, right? Skibidi comes from skibidi toilet or skibbity. I guess those are virtual heads singing in toilets. And so apparently it's used to describe something bad or cool. I haven't heard anybody use the word skibbity or whatever. Sigma. I think of Sigma as fraternity but apparently it's an alpha leader. So if somebody's Sigma, it's like they're frat, they're a leader, etc. Drip. Okay, drip is also supposed to be a positive term. Remember, drip used to be negative, especially in a connotation with STDs. Now, something's drip is apparently cool. All right? Bussin'. Bussin' is a term for really, really good. Again, you would think, I'm on a bus. I have to bus, I'm bussing. You would think it means you're bustling. No. Bussin' is a word to describe something that's very good or delicious or awesome. Gyat. Gyat. It's a reactionary word if you're shocked. All right. So, like, let's say I'm walking down, the road. They're like, "Gyat, she's hot." Well, no, they won't say that. They have "Gyat, she's really fine." They don't use fine. She's fine. Fine was more in the 80s, but gyat is kind of a good surprise term. Mooing or mewing. Mewing is changing the appearance of your jawline by repositioning in the mouth. And they say the students are mewing and can't answer your questions. It's not supposed to be meowing. It's supposed to be screwing around with your mouth, mewing, so you can't speak at this moment in time. Why would you be doing that? Do you have tardive dyskinesia? What's going on here? So mewing is something. Cap. Cap is a lie. Think it was a baseball cap. In a sentence, Teresa said her mom is best friends with Beyonce. That's cap. Okay. So cap, not to be like Sopranos. He got capped. Not to be mixed up with that. Phantom tax. I guess this has to do with that Twitch streamer. And it has to do with I guess somebody stealing food away from somebody. Sus. Sus means suspicious. So if somebody goes, "That's sus," you think that means that's good or bussin'. No, sus means that's suspect or suspicious. Okay. Goat. We all know goat. We've been using that term for a while. Greatest of all time. Bet. Okay. Bet is also like excitement. Like, do you want to meet, I guess, afterwards to go to the arcade and play Pac-Man? Said that was in the 80s. You say bet. Like, I'm there. I would think bet meant something different. Basic is ordinary. Bop is apparently either something that's catchy or popular, or we're hearing the word bop as a slut. Somebody might be called a bop if they sleep around. All right, so I hope it taught you guys something. I think it's pretty cool. Dude, word. 1-877-Daliah.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell our listeners who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me join you to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now and find out how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. If you think you deserve compensation, call now to find out how much you qualify for. 800-710-5100.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
The cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to totalwellness.com. Supplements made for physicians, only now available to you too. totalwellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube. Click like and subscribe. So RFK Jr. has passed the Senate Finance Committee vote. It was 14-13, I believe. The yays over the nays. Right down party lines. Even Senator Cassidy voted for RFK Jr. So that doesn't mean he's officially confirmed. It means he has passed out of the Senate committee and now advances to the full Senate. And, there's been a lot of doctors that have been going back and forth on this. Some like him, some don't. I want to hear from you guys. Do you think RFK Jr. is what we need for public health policy? It is exactly what we need. Or do you think he can harm our public health efforts? 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOC-DALI. So, after Kathleen Sebelius was Health and Human Services Secretary and with Obama, and the Affordable Care Act was a monstrous bill that had a couple good things in it, but the rest of it was a cluster. I had said, I think whoever runs HHS should have a medical background. But she had a political science background. Is it Javier Becerra who ran Biden's HHS? So usually they're political. They're not necessarily a physician. They put the physicians or the dentist or the physical therapist or the pharmacist or whatever in other roles within that. But the Health and Human Services Secretary, because they oversee a lot, they don't necessarily have, they aren't required to be an MD or a DO or a nurse practitioner or a. So I understand, even though I would prefer it, I get why it doesn't always happen. Secondly, I see how the Republicans are all kind of grouping up together. The Democrats are grouping up together. I always love seeing people have their own thinking and explain that, look, this isn't just about an R or D, but RFK Jr., I believe, will be our Health and Human Services Secretary because this is what Trump wants. This presidency is, similar to others in terms of you have a commander in chief. Usually the right, goes with the R and the left goes with the D. But this is Trump's pick. And I don't think you're going to see a lot of Republicans, with the exception of Murkowski and Susan Collins of Maine, who, are more independent from the Republican Party, or like Senator Joe Manchin, who is independent of the Democratic Party sometimes. You usually see kind of party line type stuff. But why are some people freaking out about it? Why aren't they? So it's fascinating to me that RFK Jr. has all this Republican support. Remember, he was a Democrat, a Kennedy Democrat. Now, mind you, Kennedy Democrats are more conservative Democrats, and a lot of Republicans, can relate to some of their sort of, some of their campaigning and their opinions. But Kennedy is a Democrat. He turned independent, environmentalist, not the typical MAGA Republican, but, during the election, he threw his support behind Trump. So Trump gave him a position. But he chose him. Trump is not going to do anything stupid in terms of doing anything he's even already clipped his wings saying you're not going to, deal with the farming industry. You're not going to, your purview is going to be limited. But, Trump, on one end, this isn't just a quid pro quo. You helped me, so now I'm going to, you just take HHS and run with it. Trump does want to make America healthy again. This make America healthy again is not going to happen in one presidency, in one term. But a lot of the things that we are dealing with right now that we keep asking ourselves, why is fast food cheaper than grocery food? I go to the grocery store to buy dinner. I can't walk out of there under $100. I cook dinner. We have some leftovers, but a meal can't be $100 when people can go to fast food and get their meal for $30 or $40, although that's been changing. In terms of vaccines, I love the fact that we have vaccines. I love that we have a robust pediatric vaccine regimen. But when parents ask, how can I look up side effects? How can I make a determination? There's not a lot of access. It's not easy to read. It's not easily accessible. And, because remember, people voted for Trump and Trump supported RFK Jr. So people knew what they were getting and they wanted that. Does it mean America is starting to be anti-vaccine? No, but I think America wants more transparency. Trump is the transparency president. That's what he wants, us to know him as. And so RFK Jr., attracted a lot of voters when he said, we're going to have websites up where you could access the studies yourself so you can make an informed decision. If there is a hypothesis or a questioning of something's safety that we've traditionally done, we're going to look into it. And I hear the back and forth between doctors. They say vaccines are safe, vaccines are safe, vaccines are safe. Yes, for the most part, vaccines are safe, but not for everybody. Why can't we look into that? Why can't we go, okay, most people do fantastic. I love the polio vaccine. Thank God we have it. But you notice in the 90s, we had to change from the oral polio vaccine to the injection. Why did we do that? Because somebody questioned it. When there was a grandfather who ended up getting polio, changing his grandbaby's diaper, because that grandbaby had the oral vaccine, we had to stop and go, wait a second, we need to do a switch. We need to pivot. In science, as a doctor, all you hear about is how a lot of times what you know now might not be the truth 5 years from now or 5 days from now. That science is always evolving. So you need to, if there is a question, don't blow it off. Don't be lazy. Look into it. Somebody's coughing and they're coughing and they're coughing and they don't have pneumonia. They don't have tuberculosis. They don't have valley fever. But the only thing different was they started a new blood pressure medicine. Well, thank God somebody said, can we take a look and see if this blood pressure medicine is causing cough? We found out it did. When Viagra came out in the 90s and people were dropping, it wasn't, this is your shot. This is your shot. Go get your Viagra. Be a man. Don't worry about it. No, somebody had to stop and go, wait a second. You can't take it with nitrates. If you're on sublingual nitroglycerin, you shouldn't be taking it. And which, by the way, if you are having erectile dysfunction and an issue with the blood vessels down below the waist, please get the vessels checked above the waist and check your heart. So science is always evolving. These medications are evolving. What we thought was good. Remember how Tylenol was a category A for pregnancy? Category A meant completely safe. No data in animals or humans saying there's risk. They changed that. Now it's a category B, meaning there could be risks. Not as bad as a C or D, but I've seen medications change. Since I've been a physician, and I've been a physician since the 90s, there's a lot of things that are changing. And so, doctors were asking me, why are people supporting RFK Jr.? Well, because he's allowing the conversation to happen where you say, look, can we just look at this? Now, do people fear he's going to end childhood vaccines? I don't think he has that power. And I don't think the physicians are going to support that, especially since we don't want polio coming back and tetanus coming back, etc. But if he does show that, look, there are certain populations that might not do well, or where it might not work, or there might be a side effect, those are things that need to be studied and that need to be out there, just like fluoride. During the Biden administration, a study came out showing that ingesting fluoride could affect children's IQs. Well, we're fluoridating water. I'm a fan of fluoride and what it does to protect the teeth, but are kids getting too much of it? Especially since they're swallowing their toothpaste when they're brushing their teeth. So now we need to, take a look at it. Now that we've evolved and we have better dental products, we have more access to dentistry, and we have pediatric dentists. And, do we need to maybe readjust the levels in the drinking water? So I like RFK in that he's asking questions that I think should be asked. Do I think he's going to make these big machete moves? I don't think Trump will let him. 1-877 Doc Daliah, don't go away.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Doc Daliah, 1-877-DOCDALI. Well, I got to tell you, I'm kind of liking how Trump and Elon Musk are showing us behind the curtain some of these things, such as U.S. aid and some of the things our taxpayer money is going to. And so when they shuttered it pretty quickly, and I know the Democrats are pretty upset with that, we're learning more and more about how that really isn't what we thought it was supposed to be. You're thinking U.S. aid is there to, well, so how a lot of these things work, there's a lot of good charities, there's a lot of good organizations out there, but some of the suspect ones, I'm going to try to use slang so I stay young. Some of the more suspect ones, what they do is they show you, see, this is what we're doing. Everybody very publicly, this is what we're spending the money on. So people like, oh, okay, I see they spent the money on vaccines or they spent the money on Ebola. Okay, but then what about the other 90% of the funds? What's going on there? And so when we start to hear about taxpayer funds, where, and I know it was debunked, but I guess money was going to reproductive funding in Gaza, including condoms, 50 million. Yeah, can't we use that 50 million here? We have individuals who need condom access here. And so Trump is going to be, one of those presidents that does America first. And even though I do want to limit medical catastrophes and pandemics, and I want to help children who need food and, be a country that helps others, I do think we need to stop and revisit and see what the hell is going on. And so this is interesting. Senator Joni Ernst said that U.S. aid intimidated and threatened her team when she wanted to look at them previously. This is in an interview with Daily Mail. The Iowa Republican said that they stonewalled her last year when she tried to investigate their cash flow. Senator Ernst said, they said, no, you can't look at it. You're not going to look at these contracts. You don't need access to it, so we're not going to let you see it. Now, I thought if you were a charitable organization or whatever the hell USAID is, that you want to show everybody what you are doing. You want to show that you bought vaccines or you paid for ZMapp when Ebola was spreading or you fed kids in this country. Why all the, cloak and dagger? Why all the, secrecy? So then Joni Ernst said defiant USAID staff threatened to bring legal action. Now, some of you had asked, what is USAID? Okay, so apparently, according to Daily Mail, it was established back in 1961 to give U.S. taxpayer cash to countries for education, infrastructure, health, and other products. They have taken credit for helping countries get food and medicine. And I am sure that some of the funding did go to that, but we are not in a position where only 10% or 15% or whatever the percentage is doing what it's supposed to. We need to know, especially if it's taxpayers' money, especially with the way, the economy is right now and how expensive everything is right now. You want to know that if you're being taxed, that money is going to your kid's school. That's going to the potholes. That's going to public safety. That's going to secure the border. That's going to your national interest. Now, they say, well, yeah, but if we help feed other people, it helps America in the long run. Well, Elon Musk took a look at it, and they decided to shut it down and shut it down fast. Part of the reason why is some of the programs and some of the money being spent was for LGBTQ employment initiatives in Serbia. They were funding transgender health clinics, supposedly in India, Vietnam, electric cars for Vietnam. I think there were, transgender comic books. And listen, you could support the LGBTQAI plus community. You could support transgenderism, but taxpayers want to have a say. And if they don't want that money going to that, or then rather that money go to our homeless veterans or to beef up the VA system or to, then the taxpayer should have a decision. So Joni Ernst wanted to know how much USAID was spending on administrative costs versus aid. Now, I believe most charities, like if you want to start a charitable organization, I believe the maximum you could spend on administration and salaries is 35%. They understand you have rent. They understand you have workers' comp insurance. They understand you have liability insurance. They understand you need staff. You need phone, website, IT. And you need to hire people for that, which costs money. But I think the max, and correct me if I'm wrong, is about 35%. So 65% has to be the money going to what the causes are. Well, you're supposed to be audited, and the IRS will audit you. Why can't the government audit USAID? Salaries, facility repairs, rent, lobbying. Shouldn't be more than 35%. Ernst's team was finally able to review a limited number of files after about 6 months. But being that they were threatened with legal action, come on. Now, this starts to kind of remind me of what happened. I don't know if you guys remember with Susan G. Komen for the Cure and Planned Parenthood. Back in 2012, we were in a pretty bad recession. And Komen for the Cure raises money for breast cancer and research and mammograms. And I guess Planned Parenthood, in addition to all the taxpayer funds, was also getting money from Komen for the Cure. Well, in January 2012, the foundation said they were going to end their funding to Planned Parenthood. either their donors weren't that happy about that because Planned Parenthood was known for performing abortions, and some of the donors were like, I'm just giving you money for breast cancer. I'm not giving you money for abortions. Can this, and then I believe the foundation said that they had a new policy that prevented it from funding groups under investigation. And I guess the investigation was looking into whether Planned Parenthood was using federal money to fund abortions. There was huge backlash. Huge backlash. There was pressure. I think Planned Parenthood went to Congress to step in to get Komen for the Cure to help continue still funding. Some Komen board members resigned as a result of this. Some stayed on. And then the foundation had to publicly apologize and then continue to fund. Now, mind you, Planned Parenthood does do a lot for the underserved community. But if a breast cancer charity is supposed to be spending all their money, or I should say 65%, on breast cancer research and breast cancer access, does it have to go through Planned Parenthood? Why can't they choose to? But there was so much pressure that they had to bend the knee. And so I'm a little confused by that. And again, I'm very grateful for some of the things that Planned Parenthood does for low-income areas and access to birth control and STD screening. But if a charitable organization for cancer doesn't want to donate part of their funds that could end up going to abortion, they have a right in America. But I noticed that there's a lot of threats. They're not, I don't want to say threats, but underlying, this isn't, you're going to pay for this decision. And so if the senator wanted to look at USAID, they should have been able to do that. Well, Trump and Elon Musk comes in and say, you know what? They're closed. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-910-7500. That's 800-910-7500. Call now to find out how much your case could be worth.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to totalwellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. totalwellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Self-reliance. It's not a phrase we hear much in our culture these days. It might conjure up images of pioneers, the West, rifles, strapping men, and strong women. But what does it mean for us in today's world? The New American Magazine has just released its latest collector's edition, Self-Reliance, Foundation of Freedom. In it, the New American authors outline the necessity of self-reliance for a free people, tips for self-reliant living, and the importance of not giving up hope. This unique edition includes articles on the self-sufficiency of the founders, preparing for a worst-case scenario, firearms, financial self-reliance, the importance of community, and many other topics by expert writers. Now, for a limited time, the New American is offering a bundle of 3 collector's editions, Self-Reliance, The Great Reset, and Trump World, for just $19.95. Available at shopjbs.org. Visit shopjbs.org today.
are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Doc-Dali, 1-877-DOCDALI. So not only am I a radio host, but I am also a physician. I know a lot of you are like, really? You don't sound like one. I am. So sorry. If my vernacular is not as linguistically perfect and to your liking, sorry about that. I spent a lot of time reading and studying rather than working on my grammar. Forgive me. But I'm noticing I do telemedicine in the afternoons. I do it early morning and afternoons and evening. And I'll take a history from a patient. They'll have nothing listed, no medical issues, no medications, and they're in their 20s. And I always double check because a lot of people don't put in their history or don't follow directions. And I'll say, all right, any major medical issues? And they'll say no. And I'm like, are you taking any medications? And they'll say, yeah, I'm taking lisinopril or metformin or losartan or atorvastatin. I'm like, what? So you have high cholesterol? You have high blood pressure? Yeah, I have high blood pressure. And I have prediabetes and I have high cholesterol. And I do a double take and I'm looking at their age. They're 23 years old. And I'm like, good job that your doctor caught this. But you have a list of medications that I usually only see in the middle age group. You're only 23. Now, 23-year-olds can get high blood pressure and diabetes, but I'm seeing this more and more. I just had a 20-some-year-old today come down with shingles. I go, did you have chickenpox as a kid? Yeah. She would have been in the age group for the vaccine, but I understand how about 20-some years ago, parents were like, I'd rather they get it natural. So, yeah, we do have some Gen Zs that maybe got chickenpox on their own, but usually we don't see shingles till, again, you're middle age or older. That's why we vaccinate when you're over 50. And here I'm seeing people in their 20s have shingles. And it looked like shingles. It didn't look like cutaneous herpes. Cutaneous herpes is where you have a type 1 herpes that could affect the skin. And people think it's shingles because it's blistery and we treat it similarly. But it's in the herpes family. It's very localized and it doesn't spread along a dermatome. Basically what shingles is you get chickenpox at some point in your life if you weren't vaccinated. That chickenpox would quiesce and lay dormant in a dermatome, a nerve. Since your nerves come from the spinal cord and they go out, it would only be one nerve on either the right or the left. And then when you're stressed, or let's say you get COVID and it reactivates the virus or something reactivates it, it'll then pop up with a blistery rash, but only along that dermatome, either on your leg, on your face, along your chest. So we usually don't see that until people are older. Same thing with cancer. There's a lot of younger individuals getting colorectal cancer. So somebody has to ask the question. I don't know if it's going to be RFK Jr. I don't know if it's going to be Trump. I don't know if it's going to be your doctor. But somebody needs to ask the question, why are we seeing older people illnesses in the younger generation? And when you talk to kids and younger adults, I go, has your blood pressure been checked? Have your eyes been checked? I go, I'm only in my 20s. Well, apparently that's a thing now. Some people are getting diabetes and high blood pressure or retinopathy or cervical cancer or colon cancer when they're that young. Now, as a physician, I have diagnosed colon cancer in young individuals. I have diagnosed hypertension in younger individuals. But what's very interesting about the numbers, which you have to realize, is the average person is not going to the doctor these days. They have an Obamacare plan and their deductible is really high. So they're using telemedicine. And with telemedicine, we are checking their blood pressure. So we're seeing a rise in younger individuals with high blood pressure, with diabetes, even though we have a descending number of individuals, fewer people going to the doctor. That is a double whammy. That means we have more young people with younger individuals with older type illnesses than we know. And that's frightening to me. How are these people getting picked up? Is it because they're not feeling well and they go to the urgent care, for flu and wow, your blood pressure's high. You need to see a doctor for this. Why is that? You used to have to get birth control come in for a pap smear. So women for their birth control would every year get their blood pressure checked, get their heart and lungs looked at. And because we were giving you birth control, we would check your blood pressure. Why are we finding high blood pressure now in younger women, especially when they could get the birth control over the counter or they could get the birth control online. I think the numbers are even more than we think. And you keep hearing how younger people are dying. Well, it could be their diet. It could be their sitting. Yeah, why is it? Why do we have, quote unquote, old people illness in younger individuals? Well, what was the difference? Let's go back to the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and the 50s. What was the difference between people in their 20s and 30s and people in their 50s and 60s? Well, people in their 20s and 30s would be out and about. They'd be running around. Yeah, they'd be smoking, which wasn't good. And that caused a whole slew of other issues. But they would, you would be out on a Saturday night. You would be out on a Friday night. You would go to the games. You would be in sports. Your physical fitness in high school and in grade school was a lot more demanding. You would be in the military. Yet older individuals who looked older at the time, 40s and 50-year-olds looked pretty old, at the time. They might have more sit-down jobs. They might start taking it easy. They might now be grandparents. They might be sitting more. But there's a shift. Now younger individuals are sitting all day. So they're playing video games. They're on their computers. They're on social media. They're sitting more. Now I see a lot of young people in the gym. But if you look on the whole, with obesity rising, my guess is we have fewer people who are active. The other thing, too, is you used to have to walk to the bus stop to get anywhere. Not everybody had a car in the 60s and 70s and 80s. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a car until the 90s when I was able to pull $1,800 together to get a used Chevy Chevette with no air conditioning. And then I finally had a car, and I'd been walking everywhere. Now people are able to get a vehicle or they can Uber so they don't have to walk anymore. Also, our food. You used to have to make yourself a sandwich. Now you could get any crap you want from a dispensary, from a snack machine, and people are eating crap. And that could be aging us. Could it also be our attitudes towards health? I mean, I used to be really, really worried about anything I would put in my mouth. I was like, you know what? This is a very bright red food coloring like Mountain Dew. I was afraid to drink Mountain Dew, not because of caffeine, because people said, gosh, this caffeine will help get you through medical school. No, I just didn't want to drink anything that looked fluorescent. Now people are like, well, it's the norm. They grew up on bright foods and Teletubbies and Elmo and everything is bright. See, I remember Sesame Street, they weren't as bright. Ernie and Bert were a little bit more dull in their colors. Grover was a duller blue, right? Cookie Monster, the cookie wasn't as bright. Now everything is so bright and fluorescent. I get a headache flipping the channel through these kids. The colors are just so ridiculous now. And we've trained kids to now, and then adults, to go after things that are fluorescent, like a moth to a lamp. So I think we really need to kind of stop and look at what the hell we're doing. Because I don't think a 20-year-old should have high blood pressure. I don't think 20-some-year-olds should be getting shingles. I don't think we should be catching stage 3 cervical cancer on your first exam like we've been doing. And studies are showing. So for those of you younger people out there going, I don't have to worry about that stuff till I'm 50. Yeah, you do. 1-877-Daliah.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.